June 18, 1985. That day, Japanese TV news was gripped by an extraordinary sense of tension. On screen was an upscale apartment in the city of Osaka. Living there was Kazuo Nagano, the chairman of a company that had become the center of nationwide controversy, Toyoda Shoji Co., Limited. As reporters gathered in front of his door for an interview, the unimaginable occurred. Two men forced their way into Nagano's apartment and, in front of the cameras, stabbed him to death with a kitchen knife. Shockingly, these men had warned the media in advance of their intent to kill Nagano. The footage, disturbingly raw and graphic, was broadcast across Japan, marking the tragic end of one of the biggest fraud cases in post-war history. What exactly was Toyoda Shoji? Why did the case spiral into such a catastrophic event? And what lessons must we learn today? This is the story of a 200 billion yen fraud, and the lives it shattered. We now delve into the full scope of the Toyoda Shoji Incident. 1981, Osaka. A company was founded, Toyoda Shoji Co., Limited. Its name seemed to evoke the global giant, Toyota Motor Corporation. However, it had absolutely no affiliation with Toyota. The company's founder and chairman was Kazuo Nagano, though he had worked in the financial sector. Much of his background remains shrouded in mystery. On the surface, Toyoda Shoji claimed to sell physical gold, a safe and secure investment to protect your assets, according to its ads. Its sales team rapidly expanded, but the reality was something else entirely. What they sold was not gold, but rather gold deposit certificates, worthless pieces of paper. Worse still, these certificates were often priced far above the actual market value of gold. There was no guarantee of resale, and hardly anyone ever received actual gold. Victims believed they had bought gold, but all they received was a piece of paper. This sophisticated scheme, combined with persuasive sales tactics, ensnared mostly elderly people. Toyota Shoji's explosive growth wasn't driven by innovation or groundbreaking products. It was built upon an elaborate fraud system that preyed on the emotional vulnerabilities of people. Sales reps targeted elderly individuals living on pensions, often concerned about their financial future. Well-dressed young men would suddenly appear at their doorsteps. "Ma'am, have you heard that gold prices are rising lately? With just a small investment, you could earn a big return. You won't lose money guaranteed." Smiling and friendly, they earned trust by acting like family. Their sales manuals were incredibly detailed. How to extract information about family structure. How to respond to rejections. How to create urgency. You'll lose out if you don't act now. Some reps visited multiple times, bringing gifts and staying until the elderly agreed to sign. What they sold was not real gold but fake deposit certificates, vague financial products that had nothing to do with actual gold ownership. There were also tactics to sign multiple contracts. "This is for your grandchildren's future. Installments make it affordable." Many victims ended up handing over hundreds of thousands, even millions of yen. Then, after the contract, the phone stops working. The sales representative disappears. The company becomes unreachable. Only then did people realize they had been scammed, but by that time, their money was already gone. Toyota Shoji had branches nationwide and thousands of sales reps. With this organized fraud structure, the number of victims skyrocketed. From 1984 to 1985, consumer centers across Japan were flooded with complaints. "The gold I ordered never arrived. I can't contact the company. I want a refund, but don't know what to do." Behind these voices was Toyoda Shoji. More than 300,000 contracts had been signed nationwide. Total damages exceeded 200 billion yen, and most of the victims were elderly. Their life savings, pensions, and even money saved for children and grandchildren were stolen. One woman said, "My husband passed away, and I carefully kept his retirement money. But a young man kept insisting, 'It's safe, don't worry.' And I believed him." A man confessed, "I handed over the money we had saved as a couple, without even discussing it with my wife. I still can't look her in the eye." Victims' voices were increasingly reported in the media. Some had signed contracts in secret, causing family rifts. Others, driven to despair, took their own lives. What worsened the tragedy was the slow response from authorities. The police and government initially hesitated, citing private contracts and civil matters. Meanwhile, Toyota Shoji was said to have legal and political connections. including former police officers and lawmakers, shielding it from scrutiny. As a result, many victims had nowhere to turn. At first, the media also responded sluggishly. But one event changed everything. In June 1985, a shocking live broadcast rocked the nation. TV cameras captured something unimaginably graphic and sudden. In a high-end Osaka apartment, Kazuo Nagano, the elusive chairman, was finally found. Despite public outrage, he had remained hidden until now. Several TV crews gathered at his door for a surprise interview. Then, two men appeared. Holding long knives, they said, "We don't want your money anymore." They smashed through the apartment's window bars and drove a knife into Nagano's head. It was all captured, vividly, on live television. The men made no attempt to flee and were arrested on the spot. It was later revealed they were connected to organized crime. Their motive was simple and chilling. "We couldn't forgive Toyoda Shoji for robbing the elderly of everything." It was an explosion of anger and grief emotions that the law had failed to address. This incident sent shockwaves throughout Japan. News programs covered it relentlessly. Debates raged over how and why this happened. But with Nagano's death, legal action against Toyoda Shoji became increasingly complicated. With the mastermind gone, accountability became unclear, and compensation to victims nearly impossible. Was this murder justice, or a continuation of tragedy? Even now, that question remains. With Nagano's death, it seemed the Toyoda Shoji case had come to an end. But for the victims, the real suffering was just beginning. Toyoda Shoji effectively collapsed immediately after the incident. What remained were over 300,000 victims. And the mystery of the vanished 200 billion yen. Many turned to a prominent lawyer, Kohei Nakabo, and filed civil lawsuits. But the company had almost no assets left to repay the victims. In the end, many were left with nothing. It was the harsh reality of being scammed. This case brought long overdue scrutiny to Japan's door-to-door sales practices and financial product regulations. Consumer advocacy groups, legal experts, and politicians finally began pushing for reforms. It also sparked debate over journalistic ethics. TV crews, focused on the scoop, witnessed a murder but kept filming. This led to lasting discussions on the moral responsibility of the media. And one more thing. This incident planted a sense of distrust in society. Don't let strangers into your home. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. People began to realize, this country has systems that prey on goodwill. But now, 40 years later, memories of the tragedy are fading. And a new wave of fraud is already creeping in. From phone scams pretending to be family members, to investment frauds using social media and cryptocurrency, to shady seminars, pyramid schemes, and info product scams. The tools may have changed, but the essence is the same. Fraudsters exploit your fears and desires. Fear for the future, love for your family, a desire for security. They creep in through those emotional gaps. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Don't tell anyone. You've been specially chosen. When you hear those words, remember this case. And above all, remember this. Fraud victims are not fools who were tricked. They are people who trusted. The ability to trust is meant to help and support others. To betray that trust is the most despicable crime of all. That's why we must learn from the past. The Toyoda Shoji incident isn't just history. It's a warning for the future. The Toyoda Shoji case was not just a massive corporate fraud. It was a symbol of an era one that exposed a blind spot in Japanese society. Most victims were people who had contributed to society for decades, finally ready to enjoy a peaceful retirement. They didn't believe the salesman. They believed in the natural human instinct to trust. But that trust was betrayed. Their dreams and hopes reduced to worthless paper. And what remained was an emotional wound that would never fully heal. So ask yourself, how would you protect yourself and your loved ones? How far would you listen to sweet words from a stranger? And when someone close to you is in trouble, especially the elderly, can you be there for them? This isn't just a cautionary tale from the past. It's a question we must all face today. If someone close to you seems about to fall for a suspicious scheme, say just one thing. That sounds a bit suspicious. That one sentence might just save a life. And finally, etch this phrase into your heart. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and give us a like. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let's preserve this tragic story as a breakwater against future disaster.